Hello everyone, and welcome back to another segment of the Care Virtual Tour. Today, we're going to start with Godzilla. Godzilla is our tortoise, and before I introduce you to him, I just want everybody to take a second and just guess how much Godzilla weighs. I'm not going to tell you how old he is or what kind of tortoise he is, but just guess how much he weighs, and we'll see if you're right. Be right back. All right, everybody, meet Godzilla. Hi, Godzilla. Godzilla is a sulcata tortoise. They're also known as an African spurred tortoise. And just so you can get an idea of how big Godzilla is, I'm just gonna, whoa, sorry Godzilla, didn't mean to kick you. That's my foot. He's a big boy. So the last time we weighed Godzilla, and he's coming in, it's starting to get cold. So he's been out grazing with the llamas. Yes, he lives with the llamas. He's been out grazing, and now he is heading into his indoor area that has a heater because it's starting to get a little chilly outside. And sulcata tortoises are desert dwellers. And Godzilla is about, I know I'm in your way, aren't I? He's about 31 or 32 years old. He will straight up run me over too, if I don't move out of his way. Okay. Let me open the door for you. So this is his indoor area. I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, there. Now you can go. You can go. It's safe. It's safe. You're fine. Okay, so here's his indoor area. He's got a little pool over there. He gets in that, and that's how he stays hydrated. Being from the desert in Africa, he doesn't need a whole lot of moisture, but he does need some, so that helps keep his area a little humid, and he can crawl in it whenever he wants to and soak up a little bit of water. And then he has a heat lamp in here, window, so he can stay nice and warm and toasty in there. And then he's got this flap on the bottom of the door, so he can go in and out whenever he wants. But he is pretty cool. He is like having a dinosaur around. All right, big man really wanted to come inside, so we came inside so he can get warm. So how we got Godzilla, someone that is very familiar with our facility, rescues animals from time to time, and she rescued Godzilla, I want to say about 15 years ago, and he was living on her property for all this time and doing great, but he kind of outgrew her space that she had for him. Plus, she'd also rescued some female tortoises, and Mr. Godzilla here wouldn't leave them alone. So he was harassing the ladies a little bit too much. So she wanted to see if we would take him in and let him live here at Care with us. And we did. And when he first got here, the llamas were very, very confused. They did not understand why this big rock was moving around their yard, and they screamed at him and did not like him at all. But now Dahlia gives him kisses all the time. YOLO just doesn't care. She doesn't care about much. But he has just settled in here, and we like having him here. He's pretty cool. But he is going to live a really long time. So even though he's in his early 30s, these tortoises can live, I've heard, anywhere from over 80 years old to over 100 years old. So he's going to live for a really, really long time still. A lot of people don't realize that when they get some species of tortoise as pets, is that they live a really long time, and a lot of times they can outlive their owners. Of course, that wasn't the case with, well, actually, I don't know if that's the case with Godzilla. I don't know where he originally came from. I just know that the woman that asked us to take him rescued him. So I don't know exactly what his situation was before he came here. But it is entirely possible that he was bought as a pet and just kind of outgrew his spot that he was in, and someone wasn't able to take care of him long term. But we are. He'll have a home here for as long as he needs one. All right, Godzilla, you can go take a nap now. We'll see you later. Hi, handsome. Yeah. This handsome guy is Boomer. Hi, Boom. Boomer is one of our big boys. He is very large. Large and in charge. Where are you going? You gonna go hang out with brother? That is actually Boomer's brother Slade over there. Hi, handsome. So we talked, I believe, in another segment about lockdown areas. So that's what these are. So these two areas are lockdown areas. They have their enclosure, and then they have this area that has a door that can be shut. And here you can see it's shut, pinned, and that secures them so that we can go into their enclosure and clean. So Boomer and Slade got here when they were itty bitty. And they were just as sweet as they could be when they were tiny, as most cubs are. And then as they started getting older, oh, they just turned into little monsters. They were awful. I mean, they were just so badly behaved. They were bad boys. Before they were named Boomer and Slade, we called them Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo. And Boomer here was Scooby-Doo, and Slade over there was Scrappy-Doo. And we'll talk about him in a minute and why he was Scrappy-Doo. But then we had, taking on new cats, especially cubs, that require formula so that they can get the nutrients that they need and grow strong. We held a auction for naming rights for them. So we had 2 people win an auction to be able to name them. And Boomer here was named after the football player, Boomer Eliason. And then Slade over there was named after the comic book character, the Green Arrow? I'm not sure. I'm not a comic book person, but it's something like that. They're about 5 years old now, so they are fully grown, and they are big, massive, strong dudes. As a matter of fact, I think I spoke about this a little bit, about us building some new enclosures. The new enclosures that we're building are actually specifically for Boomer and Slade here, because they're so big and strong. They need an extra reinforced area for them. So that's who we're building the enclosures for. So soon they'll move out of these enclosures and actually get a bigger space for them. Isn't that right, Boom? But Boomer, growing up, Boomer was, if there was a calm one, which is questionable, it was Boomer. Slade was anything but calm. Slade was a maniac. But he's really stunning. So our founder and executive director, Heidi, even though she's worked with big cats for the last 30 years, more than 30 years, her actual background is in child psychology, which has, believe it or not, come in handy working with big cats. We like to say that the big cats are, even though they're really strong and really powerful and really big, they have the mentalities of toddlers. They have no filter. They do exactly how they're feeling when they feel it. And that's part of what makes them so dangerous. But when Slade was young, he was so crazy. And Heidi would kind of talk about how it was almost like he had a sensory problem. Too many sounds, too many smells, too many colors, and he would just get overwhelmed and just kind of short circuit. It's very hard to explain unless you were there and saw it. He just would go haywire sometimes and just be just like a Tasmanian devil. But he has definitely calmed down as he's gotten older. And he's a pretty good boy now. But they are both just giant guys. They have both very large heads, very large shoulders, very large front legs. Hi, buddy. Yeah? Tell me about it. But they are pretty impressive tigers. And the new enclosures that we're building 3. One for Boomer, one for Slade, and then this little guy over here. Ezra is Slade's best friend. And so Ezra is going to move over there to be neighbors with Slade. So you might want to know why the brothers are separated. They got along great until they started hitting puberty. And they started reaching maturity. And Boomer here got some pretty serious food aggression. And they both just started picking on each other a little bit too much and a little too intensely for our preference. And we were really, really scared that they would hurt each other. Because of how big and how powerful they are, we just didn't want to take any chances. So they used to live together in a really large enclosure in the back of the property that you'll see later on. And we moved them into this enclosure so that they could be neighbors, so that they could still stay together, because they do still love each other. They chuff and snuffle at each other through the fence, and they hang out together, but it's just best if they can't actually get to one another. So we separated them for their safety. Most siblings get along. You know, they get along for their whole lives. Some don't. And sometimes you have to separate them to keep them safe or to keep them happy. Sometimes they just get stressed living with one another. It's not always a good thing, even though we do very much prefer that they have companions. Sometimes that's not what they want. So we try to do what's best for them. But they're pretty happy. They don't really show that they're having much of a problem being separated. It's probably a lot calmer for them to have their own spaces but still get to see each other. And a fun fact too, it's really hard to see, but in the wintertime, they grow out their fur a little longer. And it gets lighter in color. The orange gets lighter, the black stripes get lighter. And as it starts getting warmer, they start shedding. So a lot of that fur on the top of Boomer's neck is still his winter fur, and when he starts shedding it off, you'll see smoother, darker fur underneath. It's pretty cool. There's a few spots on top that you can't see that are starting to shed, but it looks kind of scraggly up there, and that's because he's starting to lose that winter fur. And tigers, a lot of people don't know this, but their stripes, first of all, their stripes are like our fingerprints. Every single tiger has a unique stripe pattern that is unique to them. And their stripes are different on each side, so they don't have the same stripes on each side. And field biologists, when they're studying tigers in the wild and they use camera traps or take photos of tigers, they use their stripe patterns to identify individuals. But a tiger's stripes are actually on their skin. So it's not just their fur that's striped, it's their skin that's striped. If you shave a tiger, you will see their stripe pattern on their skin. So in times that we've had cats that needed surgery and the area that was being treated had to be shaved, we could very clearly see the stripes on their skin. It's pretty cool. And a lot of people ask us how we tell our cats apart. And like I said, their stripe patterns are completely unique to them. And it depends on who you talk to. A lot of us use different ways to tell them apart. Some, it's a stripe pattern on their shoulder. Others you can just tell apart because they're a slightly different color or of a size difference. But my trick is I look at the markings right above their eyes, particularly their left eye. That's usually what I look at, what you would call their eyebrow. Every single one of them has a completely different marking, different pattern above their eye. And that's what I use to tell them apart. But a lot of people with Slade here, if you look at his cheek, the area below his eye, it looks like he has a W written on his cheek, and that's how a lot of people tell them apart. To me, it's really obvious with Boomer and Slade though, because Slade is much darker orange and a darker stripe pattern than his brother Boomer. That sums up Mr. Slade, or as we call him, Slade-O Potato, or Mr. Potato Head. We have funny nicknames for all the cats. And his brother, Boomer, who just wants to sleep. All right, well that does it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can get updated when we have new videos. Please share these videos with people that you know, animal lovers in your life, kids that might learn something. Check out our website to learn more about the animal stories. Follow us on social media to keep up with what's going on. And we hope you all stay healthy and safe out there. And we'll see you next time. Bye.